Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Generation Z podcast. And today we're up to episode 4.
Do it big, Balenciaga oversized. Need that whip, matte black with suicide. I won't miss. I put on a Tom Ford for you.
Well, look, in this episode, we did promise we were going to talk a little bit about our childhood memories. And given that Justin is pretty much the first person I met in Australia when we moved here, I guess it's sort of, the perfect way to start our episode 4. We'll talk about how the stuff that we've done, stuff that we've gone through as well, both in our, old childhoods. And yeah, that's pretty much our episode 4.
Yeah, so we're like, as everyone would know, in childhood, you have your childhood stories growing up. It could be embarrassing, could be memorable, but for the most part, it's what makes our childhood fun. So in this episode, we'll be sharing a bit about what we've experienced together and any moments we've had that's podcast worthy. We'll share it here. So kick back, relax, and enjoy.
Exactly. We've got a few embarrassing stories that we're going to insert as well. Most of them are probably me, but you know what? I'll be proud of those embarrassing stories because, you can kind of see that I've had a little fun little childhood, I guess, growing up in Australia or half growing up in Australia, right? Now, before we move on as well, I did want to apologize about the delays on our episodes. I did promise that it's going to be weekly. I did have hardware issues for the last month, so I haven't felt any motivation at all. Pretty lame excuse, but that's what I have. So yeah, we did make a few notes on what sort of stories we will go through. Now, the first one being a little autograph story that I did, with Justin. We'll call that the autograph story. Now,
this can be story number 1.
It is story number 1. Yeah. I don't know. Like, how do we start this, Justin? How would you remember this?
Maybe I can give the audience a background and then you can just fill in the details.
Of course. So, let's do that. Yeah.
Yeah. So this autograph story, guys, we attended a tennis tournament here in Sydney. So for those of you who don't know, it's usually held around January time. And it's held in Sydney Olympic Park, and this is where like third tier, second tier tennis players come to the tournament, and we watched them play. And then we bought a day pass, and we were going into the stadium, so we watched a lot of these athletes perform and play. Then we were just having a break, like from all the action, because just for context, the weather here is very hot in January, so it's 40 degrees plus, like in the beginning of the year. So we wanted to cool off somewhere, so sit down like in the shelter. So when we were sitting in the shelter, like with our family and all that, Tristan saw this couple dressed in tennis gear. Would you like to continue?
I don't know why I still find this funny many years later, but look, basically how the story went, guys. I ran after a random Chinese couple. I'm gonna insert a little photo of who the tennis player was.
We'll put it here,
for those of you guys. Yeah, we'll put it somewhere. For those of you guys that don't know, her name was Lena, and back then I guess she was quite prominent in the scene. I don't really follow tennis as much as Justin, but she's kind of fallen off, if I'm not wrong, or.
At the time, I think, but she was Asia's first Grand Slam champion.
Yeah, there we go. So there's some little info for you guys that don't know who she is. But anyway, so, we were taking a break from memory. I think we were trying to buy food or drinks because, like Justin said, it was quite hot that day. And this story is pretty much something that I shared to everyone because it's just so funny and so random that, of course, out of everyone there, it would have been me that done this. So I chased after them, and I could never forget the look on the girl's face. It was a random lady, and I had my pen and notebook out, and I was following her around for a couple of seconds, more than any it was just weird. It was me holding a notebook and just following her around, and then she just looked at me with a sort of look that it's like, what is this guy doing? And the funny thing was I really thought she was the tennis player. Call it racist or whatever, but honestly, she just looked like it, and I'm gonna stand by my story. And yeah, so Justin laughed at that, and we still laugh at it until this day because it's just super random.
Because guys, Tristan actually broke off from our group. He just completely left us.
Yeah, I completely left.
And then we were like, what is he doing? Where is he going? Then,
I just had this weird motivation in my head, and I was like, I have to get Lena's signature. And I just ran after this. Like I said, I just ran after this Chinese couple, and they were just looking at me with some weird, disgusted look, like, what is this guy doing? So yeah, look, that's one of my first few memories in Australia. Actually, the other one is a little bookmark tantrum that I threw in the library. We were quite young, so Justin, still sticks and remembers the story because, of course, he had to see it
With my own eyes, yes.
Well, I guess a little side note, right? Moving to a new country, especially when you're young, is quite stressful, and I guess it sort of maybe just started hitting me around that time. Given that, although I knew how to speak, I guess this is a story of mine anyway. So I guess learning the Australian culture is a lot different, especially if you come from, a school that is very heavily influenced by Americans and Filipinos and whatnot. Australia is just far from that. Far from that group, far from that spectrum.
Right.
So, when I first arrived, I think a lot of the stress got to me, and obviously, young kids throw tantrums, and although I wasn't that young, I guess I threw one. And yeah, so I managed to pick up a few, I guess, free bookmarks from the counter, right, Justin? Is that what I did? And I threw it in the bin out of anger. And till this day, guys, I don't normally react like that, and I don't normally get mad like that. So it's really, really strange for me to be like that. But there's another one for you guys. Yeah, so that's another story that I like to stick to. What about you, Justin? Do you have anything that you want to share to us that you've?
At the time, I just want to give the audience a context. So what are bookmarks for? So bookmarks, you're meant to put it inside a book, right? So you see what I'm doing? So
Yeah.
that's the purpose of a bookmark. You put it inside, so you can come back to it later. But what this guy does, perfectly good bookmarks, all straightened out and everything. He picks it up when we got out of the entrance, like 2 seconds later, chucks it in the bin. Wait, not chuck, he rips it, then chucks
I ripped
it. So
I don't know, guys. I was very
he
upset at
abused the
something.
bookmarks. Yeah. So
To be honest, I don't know what happened. From memory, I think someone just took my glasses and was having a lot of fun, and then I just got mad. Probably not even at the person. I don't know.
it was just childhood, stuff.
Yeah, I was just being a child, even though we were probably in year 4 or year 5 or something.
Yeah.
Who knows? But that's a story that I had there. So, a lot of this because Justin obviously has been here longer than I have, and when I first moved here, it was very, very new to me. Australia was just such a new experience, and I'm sure a lot of you can relate, for people that are watching us that have recently just moved here or in the last 10 years or so, that it takes a while to sort of assimilate the
true,
culture. Yeah. So that's my story. What about you, Justin? Do you have anything you...
Well, I think I've got a story to share because we can't let you have all the embarrassing moments, right? So
yeah, of course. Let's
this
get
was
embarrassing
when-
stuff for now.
so this was when I was in I think grade 4. So grade 4, I'm not sure if they still do it now, but usually when it's raining in the classroom, you stay indoors, right? Yeah, like during recess and lunch.
Yeah.
But I think it was a cloudy day, so everybody was playing, and then it started to rain hard. So obviously we had to go back to the classroom, and being 4th graders, we were having a race to see who could get there the fastest. So then I bolted, and then I just happened to beat my entire class. But then I realized that the classroom door was empty. So I was able to go into my classroom. And then when I was inside, I realized that I was alone. So basically what I did was I was full celebrating, running around the classroom. And then I had a juice box in my hand. And then with this juice box, I slammed it on the floor in the carpet. And when you put a stain in the carpet,
Oh no.
there's a huge water stain. And then that's what basically happened. There was a huge stain on the carpet in the middle. And I was my sheer delight turning to sheer panic, what's happening now? So I quickly got some tissue boxes, not tissue boxes, tissues, and then I was patting it down into the carpet. And obviously I did nothing because it's freaking carpet, and you just sprayed a bottle of juice box in there, so it's not gonna dry out. So when everyone came in, they saw the puddle, the huge water stain on the floor. So basically, I passed it off telling them, "Oh, there must have been a hole in the roof or something." And then to this day, everyone bought it. They bought that joke. They actually believed me. So I did not get in trouble for that, and yeah, the carpet just dried up after a whole day. So
Oh god.
so yeah, it was the dumbest thing, but that's what you do when you're 4th graders. You do stuff like that without thinking sometimes. So
Exactly.
yeah,
I had a little thing that came up to me again. So recently this year, guys, this is a lot fresher now. I know we promised childhood memories, but I think this is quite funny as well to share. Now, this is the DFO story, Justin.
Yeah.
You know, when we walked into, was it Just Jeans or like some store, and the guy was asking a question to someone else, and I responded instead. Guys, for context, we walked into the store and then I said, you know, it was just me and Justin. We were at DFO quite early, right? You know, we were walking around trying to find the best deals before anyone else walked around. So we walked in. I can't remember what store it was, but I think it was Cotton On, right? I think it was Cotton On. Cotton On, or no, it was Connor. I think it was Connor. We were trying to find pants. Yeah. So we walked into Connor, right? And the two employees there were just talking to each other. So I walked in the shop confident as ever, right? This is one of the first few shops we walked into. So we were still quite refreshed in the morning. We were just like, we just walked in, you know, trying to buy some stuff. And then I was like, yep. Can't exactly remember what he asked me, but oh no, he didn't ask me, sorry. What he asked the employee. I think it was like something to do with like the time or something like that.
Something, yeah. Because the guy asked you like if you need any help and you said no, right?
Yeah, something like that. I just said, no. He didn't even ask me if I needed help. I think he said something weird like, hey, what's the time? Or hey, what's something? It was another question. And I just responded like this autopiloting in my head. It was like, yeah, no thanks, we're good. and trust me, guys, I walked out of that shop so quickly that I'm like,
we both laughed like that.
I'm out. Yep. But yeah, that's a funny story that came into my mind. And I think that is just some of my embarrassing moments that I've gone through over the years, and this is one of them. I know it's not childhood, but hey, you know.
Hey, but since you brought up the DFO story, you want to share them the other thing that happened in the van store?
Me and Justin, look, people don't believe us when we say that we picked up $10, you know, vans, right?
Vans.
And like the chick that was serving us was like looking at us like, is this right? We didn't know it was $10 either when we walked in. We were expecting to pay at least 20, 30. Look, even 20 to 30 bucks is cheap as well for vans.
It is, but yeah.
But look, I still have them, and I still wear it, and this is some of the best $10 I've ever spent.
It was, yeah, me too.
We actually got a few good deals that day, and Justin even got a really nice CK shirt.
Tristan, I think he felt harboring memories that he couldn't get one.
Yeah, and he was like, so he picked one up, and he even signed himself up to another further discount. Remember?
So it went down to like $12.
We were like very, I don't know what was going on that day, but we were kind of lucky that day. So you know, after the embarrassing first few moments at talking to a guy that wasn't even talking to me, we made the best out of the rest of that day. So there's that. What else have we done, Justin, when we were kids?
I think
we've done a lot of things.
I think a big thing would have been the Facebook games.
Oh yeah.
The Facebook, for context, used to make games that you can play on Facebook, but now they don't do that anymore. So me and Tristan, we played a lot of Facebook games like Leveling Up, and like what else do we do? Like
Mafia Wars, Cityville,
Restaurant City for me. Yeah.
Look, everyone can relate that back then, getting notification from those games from like your friends list was the worst notifications to get, because other people would just play the game so much that you just see like a whole bunch of notifications, and it's literally just game requests. Like, you know, look, I think now they still do Facebook games. We just no one really plays it anymore, I guess you could say.
That's, I think on Messenger they do.
Messenger, it's a different little, like, I guess a different way of platform, I guess. But you know, Facebook games was a big part of our early childhood. A lot of the games we played, or well, me anyway, is we both played Mafia Wars and Cityville kinda, but I was a bit of a tryhard on Cityville. I would sit there for hours just waiting for little energy bars to come back up again, just so I can do something.
So just for context, the energy bars limits the player from doing unlimited stuff during the day, and if you wanted more energy bars, you had to pay real money for fake energy. So Tristan would watch that dial down to zero.
Yeah, I can only imagine how much I would have spent on that game having the money that we have now.
Yeah.
Yeah, luckily we didn't have that yet back then, so money saved, I guess.
Anyway.
Another game that was really big in each of our childhood was Club Penguin. Now,
It
I'm
was,
sure
yeah.
most of you guys that will be listening to this have played at least some portion of Club Penguin. Now, I was a tryhard in most of the games, but Justin was probably
An extra try hard, yes.
an extra tryhard in this game. If you want to share your little Club Penguin story there, Justin, I'm sure
Oh,
you've
yeah.
got plenty.
Yeah, I think I was just I was beyond addicted to that game. I would make the user guides, type it up on Microsoft Word and print it out and put it in a folder. Then I'll bring it to school. Then all my classmates, they would read it and and be like, "Oh, where did you get that from?" "Oh no, I just copied and pasted it from the archives on the website."
Yeah.
And then Club Penguin also has missions. So missions are basically games, and then I would go through the effort of writing a step-by-step process, step 1 all the way to step 20 on how to beat that mission. So I really went all out to print and publish so many articles and all that. But yeah, I even discovered coin hacks. I think I would have been one of the first people to get 1 million coins on Club Penguin. You can
Wow.
fact check me, but on my account it had 1 million coins because I discovered a hack in the game.
Nice.
I think this hack was called on not Subway Surfers, on the fishing game. I
Oh,
forgot the
right,
name
okay.
of it, the fishing game where you fish and then
Yeah. It's been a
Yeah.
while. I know what you mean, though. You go in this little ice hole, right?
Yeah.
And you chuck your fishing rod down.
and then I broke
Yeah.
the game and I got 1 million coins. So
Nice.
I spent a lot of hours on that. It was good.
Yeah. And I can only imagine how you found your info, because back then, Google really wasn't as developed, or browsers weren't as developed as they are now. You can just
Yeah.
search. You can even incorrectly spell stuff, and something will still come up, right?
That's
so
true, yeah.
back then it wasn't like that. And also, I would never forget dial-up connection.
Oh, yeah, dial-up.
It used to take me forever to get in the server. Because you would first have to wait for the dial-up connection to come through, and then after that, you gotta wait again just to get into the server, which just took a long time.
That's true. Yeah.
So that was that. But yeah, no, Justin showed me that game quite a lot, and he knew where all the little secret pins were that you collected. So yeah, that was fun. We bonded a lot over that game for quite some time until I came over here. Because fact check, I used to live in the Middle East, so
Yeah.
we were, I guess, worlds apart, you could say, other sides.
Continents apart. Yeah.
Continents apart, exactly.
Yeah.
So that was a big one, and another one would have been Yu-Gi-Oh and Pokemon cards.
Oh yeah, Pokemon cards. You remember the time when we finished school, we went to the $1 shop and buying the fake knockoff cards, and then being
Times were
excited.
simpler. Times were simpler back then, guys. A lot of stuff, now, that we think that were simple now, right? It's just times were simpler. And honestly, sometimes I wish that we could go back to those, adult problems. I don't like having them
yeah.
sometimes. So there's that, and a big part of our childhood was also Ratchet and Clank,
Oh yeah, Ratchet and Clank.
And that,
was OP.
and that Shrek game that we used to play. What was it called? Smash and something.
Yeah, it's like the racing game, like
The racing
Mario Kart version of Shrek.
Yeah, we used to try very hard in that game. Honestly, much harder than we should have. But it is what it is.
Yeah, and then there was also the big one, I think, Call of Duty Zombies. Yeah, that was very
Oh
big.
yeah, Call of Duty Zombies. The DS used to come around with us more than our phones would before,
Yeah.
right? Although we hacked pretty much every game we were playing, except Call of Duty.
Yeah, we did. Yeah.
Pokemon, we were too OP. And the other day, one of my close family friends asked me, like, "Did you ever play Pokemon properly?" I'm like, "I don't think so."
No.
No, because by the time we'd get to the gyms and stuff, right? Our Pokemons were so OP that we just one hit all of the Pokemons anyway, regardless of what type it was. So
Yeah, getting the rare candies.
we really didn't play Pokemon properly. Like, if you ask me, I'm not gonna sit there walking around like most people do,
Yeah.
trying to catch the Pokemon. But yeah, no, Pokemon was a big part, and so was Nintendo Wii Sports. That was another
Wii
thing we
Sports.
bonded over as well.
Wii Sports, bowling especially.
Yeah, Wii Sports and handball as well. Handball was one.
Yeah.
Um,
Zombies.
oh yeah, zombies. I mean, we played it a little later, but we were actually very good at zombies. To tell you guys the truth, if I had means to record any of our games and stuff, I think we'd be up there.
Yeah, like
Um,
when we say good, like we don't mean like we die once, but we didn't die till like round 30, okay?
and
Like, that's
most of the
how
time
good are.
exactly most of the time we died was us just like either trolling or getting so
Trolling.
tired that's like that we make a mistake, because that's what zombies is, right? Once you figure out the basics and stuff, it's repetitive, right? It just
You
keeps
just train
going,
it
it
out.
just keeps going and going. And honestly, me and Chelsea were pretty good at that.
Yeah, we were better than average, okay? Like
we were better than
we were at
average.
legendary.
So that was another big I guess bonding moments in our childhood was as well, that a lot of that was that game. Yeah. Well, cool. Well, that is a bulk of our childhood. I know for some of you guys, you guys were probably expecting more, but I do hope you guys enjoyed our embarrassing stories, especially my DFO one.
Yeah.
I still stick to that. There's plenty more to come. Now, me and Justin were thinking of trying out some games for you guys. Now, we are hopefully nearing the end of lockdown, but given that lockdown has become a norm for the last 2 years, I'm sure you guys would still appreciate some of these games, and who knows, maybe you guys will find out a game that you'd like over our channel as well.
Yeah, no worries. Yeah, guys. Well, thank you for listening. And as always, if you have any feedback, if you want to follow the YouTube channel, the Instagram, the TikTok, then feel free to do so. I think Tristan will put the links down below.
Yes, I
And yeah,
will.
we'll see you in the next one. Until then,
See you guys in the next one. See you guys.
bye.